MSMEs for us as Zimtrade, they are very critical because if you look around, they form really quite a big base or the bulk of our productive economy. So what we've done as Zimtrade, we have then delved deeper. In addition to the support that we do to the big companies that are already exporters, we then have delved deeper into the needs of what the small or the MSME businesses need. You find that most of the time they don't have the guidance probably to move you from point A to point B. And as Zimtrade, in expansion with our portfolio, we've also tried to work and say, how do you treat a business for exports? It's okay if you're doing a business for the local industry, but once you get into the export market, it becomes a bit different because it's different territories, different languages, the packaging and the rules are a bit different. So through our different training programs, we have then crafted and joined other people in creating programs that can then empower them with the knowledge that they need to equip them to be able to be competitive in export markets. We have two programs that are focused directly on the women and the youth. She's just mentioned the Next Year Exporter program, which is a female-facing program which seeks to say to the women who are out there producing, usually on a small scale, you can actually export at a higher level. But what you need to do is, you need your registration. Most of our businesses are largely unregulated, they're unregistered. So we need them to also begin by being compliant with the laws of the land. An exporting business is one which complies with the laws of the land. So we begin from there. We give them information about how to register with ZIMRA, for example. We always say ZIMRA is your friend. In any exporting entity, the Revenue Authority will be your friend. You need to be above in terms of your taxes and compliant with whatever the law requires. We help them register their businesses and teach them how to handle their businesses in terms of the finances, how to seek the finances. Zimtrade on its own doesn't have funding to give to the businesses, but we then partner with other institutions. For example, for this year's and last year's Next Year Exporter program, we partnered with Nedbank. They were the ones that were funding most of our activities and how we were going about that program. And so we look for ways in which to capacitate them through giving them the knowledge that they need for the exports. That's on the Next Year Exporter program. From its inception in 2022, we've seen a number of these ladies go on to export to Botswana, to Mozambique, to South Africa, to Namibia, to Zambia, and still growing further. Some have even gone as far as exporting to Europe and to the Americas, so which is something we're very proud of. But we also have the youth-facing program, which is called the Eagle's Nest program. That one seeks to look at the youth and explore what problems and what challenges they have. Most of our entrepreneurs, you find, they stem from passions, but you don't really necessarily have the know-how of how to run a business, let alone an export business. So we then get them mentors who then work with them through what they need for their businesses. They be able to account for their raw materials. Their costing sometimes is what throws them off because either they're overpriced or they're severely underpriced. So through our programs, they get to learn how to structure their businesses in a way that is profitable for them while still producing top quality products that can carry their weight in both regionally and continentally, but also across international boundaries. What we've come to realize also in terms of exports is that why we came up with these programs is that in the whole export discourse, we found that women and the youth were found wanting. In the top 750 or top 1,000 companies that are exporting right now, I think less than 1% are owned by the women and the youth. So we're trying to change that as Zimtrade to say, let's bring up a lot more exporters from right across the divide, regardless of gender, race, and age. So this is our own way of doing it. But in addition to that, we appreciate that it's a long step from producing for local consumption and then going to international products. So what we do is we've then developed a cluster approach where we are saying we need to improve on the quality and the quantity of products that are being produced by our MSMEs and by our women and the youth. So what we've then done is we've taken like or similar businesses and clustered them together so that way they are able to then take on the challenges that come with exporting in a better way. There's power in the numbers. We train them together. We help them with certifications sometimes. We help them with the technical expertise, and they're definitely able to produce at a higher level. Just speaking from this region alone, We have a cluster in the Midlands that we put together where it's farmers coming together to export peas. So on their own right, they're able to do a limited amount, but as a group, they are then able to export a bigger or a huger number of produce. We've done the same also in the handicraft sector. Exhibiting this year, the ZITF at the Zimtrade stand is also a group called the Mark North Handicrafts Cluster. This is 5 district-wide that it covers Binga, Cholocho, Wange, Nkai, and Lupane. This is where all the handicrafts, most of them are being done from this region. So we then said it's difficult for them to export as individuals or as individual craft centers. But if we bring them together, we're able to market them together, attract orders on a larger scale. If I tell you just this past quarter alone, they are supplying different orders in Greece, in Netherlands, in the UK. They are doing so much because now that they are able to produce at a higher scale, they are able to attract also a higher caliber of buyers. There's a number of other clusters we're doing around the country, in honey, in leather, in textiles. And the idea is to grow them to an extent where they are able to hold their weight. So as we go into Greater Africa, where we have said that we've opened up an entire market, we find that our companies that we are developing through these programs are then able to have a better product, because while it is opening up an export market, it also is bringing in competition. So us doing this ensures that even when the competition comes to Zimbabwe from the different countries, Senegal, Ethiopia, and so on, they find us at a place where we are equipped in terms of the numbers and the quality of the goods that are being produced out of Zimbabwe. So Zimtrade is at the fore of that, and we're really proud to be doing that.